and welcome back to Friday Night Fights, presented by 4th IB on Twitch TV. As you can see, we've had a bit of a wardrobe change in this break, considering that we had a channel points cashed in, or a rat nibbles cashed in here. We both have to wear our ties commando style around our heads. I have a very fancy Trinity knot that my fiance did for me, and I don't want to risk breaking it by putting this tie around my head. So instead, I got a second tie, as I am a man of many ties, and I tied this one around my head. I hope this is good enough for all of you watching at home. If not, I guess we can do other arrangements. But yeah, and what have you gone for there, Barton?
A tie around my head. I don't know how to do any other tie. It's just the one tie, and that's all I ever do. Don't know any of the fancy knots. I try to get them done, but it's not good. So apparently I'm Rambo, so I've gone Rambo today. It affects my hearing a little bit. It's a bit weird, but it's okay. It's okay. I can still give you the content that you guys deserve. Don't you dare worry.
That's the key point. So, speaking of the content, for anybody who missed it, how did that last round go down?
Well, it went down quite interesting. There was a lot of content for everyone to enjoy, but realistically, at the very start, we had a trouble with a hill. That hill was a very, very big defensive point for Blue 4, and it stopped the Op 4 advance dead in its tracks for some people. Realistically, that later went to a Blue 4 advantage further. So Blue 4 was able to take out both the helicopters, giving intel to the thing. And then from that, they used their vehicles more aggressively, got a little bit cocky, I'd say, and then they ended up charging them at line infantry. They caused a lot of wounds, but didn't do anything much. But then near the end, they didn't have anything to really hold down their positions inside the urban area at Terminal 1, which led to Op 4 encircling them and able to win the small engagements with superior numbers, and then leading to an Op 4 victory.
Yeah, I think you put that really well. And at the end of it, Op 4, so the 4IBs then, by osmosis, I guess, they also get this victory. And that's, one down and two more rounds. Hopefully they are as content filled as the last one. And we can get some, exciting victories and exciting gunfights going down, as we all do love to see the action that does take place. What is it then? Shall we go on to what do you think about in that last round? Obviously, the helicopters weren't used as well as they should have been. What do you think the pilots there could have done differently to maybe maximize their usefulness to the crowd on the ground?
Realistically, they got very close to the terminal sites, which they didn't necessarily need to do. They knew that the terminals would be garrisoned, so that information is kind of redundant because they won't know the exact positions of what they look like. They need to be going around the terminal points, away from the main danger, and finding these other elements that are maneuvering around Op 4, because those are the most dangerous. Because if you make a concerted attack, you need your flanks secure. If Blue 4 has elements out that can fold in, they can cause a lot of casualties, which is what Blue 4 needs to do in order to win in the long run. But at the same time, those Blue 4 elements would be isolated, and if you're able to find them before they find you, you can just wipe them out quite easily. And that we saw that a few times down on on the first round.
Yeah, and I think it worked quite successfully for some of the ways that the Op 4 guys seem to spread out their fights, their units, as they were able to do the assault, and they had a nice little multi-pronged attack into the final terminal, which I think was executed quite well. Maybe not all according to plan, but things in these ways often rarely do go to plan with so many moving parts and so many things that you can't know all the variables. But if you had to critique Op 4's strategy, then what do you think overall that they should have changed?
Op 4 strategy. They won in the end for Op 4, so Op 4 doesn't need any change in their strategy. Although I did see early on they tried to call the bluff, sort of, onto the fact that thinking Blue 4 wouldn't garrison all of the points. which punished them. They lost 4 men and caused very little to no casualties. So they need to take a more cautious approach, get that information, and then make plans from that information. They shouldn't be going in blindly, especially when you're the attacking team and you dictate when the firefights start.
Yeah, I think that's really important for well, for anyone who's essentially assaulting. That you need to know what it is you're assaulting. You can't just go in blind, because even assaulting blind, we saw was a struggle at the end with all the buildings that Op4 had to push past without knowing what was in the buildings, and each one they tried to sweep. There were, some casualties that were probably unnecessary. They could have, worked differently if they'd have made sure that they knew all the areas around and were able to, check the buildings as they approached them correctly and get everything, handled just the way that they want it to be, uh, ready for the rest of the forces to move in and to execute on the objectives. But yeah, at the end of the day, Op4 did win. So a couple of stumbles here and there, but they were able to get it together and able to capitalize on some of the missteps that Blue 4 did. And we'll go with for Blue 4. They before you mentioned how, or at the beginning of last round, you mentioned how they should try and forego some of the terminals and try and set themselves up to be hard pointed around one specific terminal to try and get the best way that they, all sort of the best defenses they possibly could, and try and whittle, layering their defenses and whittling the numbers of Op4 down as they were approaching. They unfortunately didn't do that, and it was quite difficult then for them to mount their defense with Op4 having a significant number for the final push. But what specifically do you think, or how specifically should they have tried to shape themselves to make it as layered as possible there? Obviously, we'll have to try and use memory of the map in best cases. But yeah, what specifically do you think they should have put defenses around in this case?
They did have some hard points they built up, some custom positions they did on dominant ground, which was very good, but it was just they're very isolated. None of them really supported each other, which was probably the main problem. They needed, because it came down to 5 minutes at the very end. The attackers had 5 minutes to, win that last point, for which they did. And most of their defenses are all isolated, so they need to make more what we call defense in depth, where you have frontal positions and then you have positions to the rear of them that can support them in case they get attacked and overwhelmed. And that is what you do to create a large amount of casualties for the attacking team. Being able to let them come to your arcs of fire and you dictating what happens then.
Yeah, and like you said, we didn't see a significant amount of that coming from the Blue 4 guys. They sort of left their arcs of fire. Well, yeah, there wasn't any overlapping. They all were looking their individual ways and looking away from their own area, as opposed to maybe trying to catch somebody out coming across somewhere. We did see a couple of nice ambushes from Blue 4, especially at the beginning, where they were able to take out a couple of vehicles going through that wooded area near one of the terminals, which was quite fun to see. But the ambush again didn't quite go as successfully, and maybe it's again because they weren't able to set up the ambush in a successful enough way with their arcs of fire overlapping and able to just have a kill zone. Instead, they just popped one of the vehicles and then lost all the ensuing firefights. And I don't think there were that many casualties at the end after they had taken that area down. But that's just kind of how it goes, I guess, in these situations. But do we have information about the upcoming round? What kind of gameplay it's going to be here?
Yes, I think we should delve into both the slots because they've now fully slotted, I believe, and what the type of game mode is for this coming round. So what it is on Zargabad. I think that's the map, and it is a destroy mission. This destroy mission means that I believe it's another attack versus defense, 15% advantage for numbers advantage for the attackers, but it does look like 4IB has been slotted into the Blue Force slots, which is the UK faction, so they should be very comfortable there. And then it's going to be a irregular militia, I believe, on the defense. And again, it's simple attack defense. You've got to make these decisions of where you're going to set up as a defender, how you're going to defend, and whether or not you're going to stagger your defense, whether or not you do defense in depth, or you want to make isolated skirmishes out and then withdraw back to a more central position, which was done well by Blue 4 last time, but that they kind of withdrew from those positions too quickly, and they didn't have enough of them. So again, 4IB is currently on the Blue 4 side, and it'll be very interesting to see what this map's like, what the terrain's like, and how the combat goes, and what the content's like. That's the main thing.
The most important thing, of course, the content, which is what we're
Absolutely.
all here to see. But yeah, as you say, Blue 4 being the UK faction here, and 4IB being very used to UK armaments here. Maybe there's some advantage going on. Maybe we can use that to our advantage anyway, and yeah, see how that goes. And hopefully everyone will be familiar with the weaponry going on. And it does look like, based on the map here, then that Blue 4 are the attackers, and the Independents are the defenders here with these caches that have to be destroyed. So non-sequential could be done in any order, and yeah, it's not the same as the terminals in the previous round where you had to go up and hack the device and wait for about 2 minutes and then it would explode. These ones, if you can see them, then essentially you can just destroy them. There's lots of different ways you can do. And I do remember in a round a few weeks ago, there was the case where one of the guys had a launcher on his back that he could have used to destroy the cache and win it for his team, but he forgot there was the launcher and started, firing his AK into it, which isn't as destructive. Took a lot longer, and unfortunately, he was slain in the meantime. Which, yeah, was a bit of an oh no moment, let's say, for the guys involved there. Hopefully, none of that will happen here. Hopefully, everyone on Blue 4 will remember the equipment that they have and will be able to execute the the mission successfully when they load on in. Um, Looking around this area just from the map that we can see, again, it looks to be fairly urban. So what do you think about that? What do you take away from the fact that it's really urban here?
It again, it's going to be quite a hard grind. So the attackers are going to be looking to try to make a break into the urban area and fight through the urban area. It's not nice to fight through open area to urban. That can cause quite a lot of issues if those defensive positions are made very well. But what the defenders need to realize is that they can't really get to the outskirts of the urban area until the round starts. So they need to be solidifying defenses around the core of the town and making streets of death, pretty much. Am I allowed to use that D word again?
Yes, you are. No one
Brilliant.
has redeemed that so far.
So they need to set up devious plays where they think that Blue 4 are going to try to rush down and get into these positions. As you can see on the map, the boundaries are very, very limited.
Mm.
So let's see if the Blue 4 has any helicopters that can go outside the boundaries and bring them round. It does look like they have one helicopter, so that means that if they take a more cautious and slow approach at first, they can have quite a good attacking position. But that all depends on the player's patience, doesn't it? What's probably going to happen is they're probably going to rush B, but there's no B, but there's just a central point. But here we are. We got the northwestern terminal, which I think should just be set up as trap after trap after trap. Fight from it for a little bit, then abandon it because it's on the outskirts, and you've got some more open ground here before they get to the next urban area. So if they need to take that northwestern area, that could be a big pain. But as you can see, there is a large airfield, open area, and to the south, again, a large front open area. So what I think Bluefall might try to do is swing around south with a large convoy of vehicles and try to get into this smaller town to the south, then try to coordinate their attack from there. Because as a defending team, you need to get an all-round defense set up. They know roughly the direction they're coming from, but they know they've got helicopters. So Blue 4 can also do some devious plays of having
Well,
unoccupied
unfortunately,
helicopters.
you were banned from saying that word as you were speaking, so you
Oh,
can't say that. I was waiting for you to have a break, but unfortunately, you've got to pick a different word there to go for that one.
I've got nothing. That's my entire vocabulary. That's it. I got devious and that's it.
Well, no, you
Well,
still can't say that.
well, my comment's gone out the window, hasn't it now? Saying, oh, I had a wow. Well, they could go to the east and do high IQ plays and try to divert the fences to the east. And that's probably what I would do with the helicopter for Blue 4. But they need to understand they need to get into the urban area quickly and start fighting through. They've got that numbers advantage, so they're already on the advantage at the start. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we can get through from that. What do you think about Morgan? What do you think they should be doing here?
Well, I think what you've said is pretty accurate. So in terms of the assault, using that air vehicle to try and at least scout out, I think before I would do anything else, is I'd get people loaded into vehicles and just get them in sort of a rapid response or sort of like QRA, just ready to go at a moment's notice and send that helicopter up and around and just see what we can see before we make any final decisions. Obviously, you want to try and envelop them as much as possible and just spread out their forces, but as you get deeper into the city, it's going to be more difficult as the circle radius becomes smaller. So as they're more spread out along the edges of the circle, their forces will be thinner, and you'll be able to just, if you pick off one guy, that could be quite a large gap that you're able to, penetrate through and just break all their defenses. But in terms of defending, I think that outermost, the northwestern, I believe, terminal, yeah, you just have to give that one up and sort of consolidate around the final two, which are relatively close together. And the map, as you mentioned before, is fairly small. So I believe you can probably see one terminal from the other, and that should be huge for the independents here to be able to set up their defenses and just. And it does look like kind of independents have done that. They've just sacrificed that terminal, gone, it's not worth it. We will get set up around here. And the fact that they can watch each other's backs by just sort of looking at each other and away from each other at the same time, it's going to be huge for the independents here. And yeah, it will be interesting to see how Blue 4 do approach this. I think so.
We're on 65.1. That's
Very
what they're
true.
saying.
Looks like, but independent, they need to start moving. They need to start moving out and setting up their defenses. They talked for a very long time. They need to start building things.
Mm.
There is pre-made blockades here, but they are very limited in terms of their vehicles. I don't think they've got many heavy hitting vehicles. They got small technicals, and oh, oh my! Now this can do something else. This can level buildings very, very easily. So they need to be using this spiraling. Hopefully it's enterable, but I bet it's not. I bet it's just there for show. I bet it's there just to annoy them. But hopefully they can use these vehicles because that can really change what happens.
Yeah, it will be quite exciting to see what happens with that if they're able to actually mount up and use that. That would be, well, yeah, a lot of damage could be done either way. So yeah, you
Yeah,
could get some very exciting content happening with these vehicles, and
Not
I
really for
think
an
somebody
MG,
just tried to
This
get
thing
in
has a
them
super
now.
quick rate of fire.
We'll see if they
yeah,
are
they're
able to
just there
actually
for
mount
show,
up.
sadly.
Yeah,
That's why you
that is
Oh,
really unfortunate.
oh, that's just so disappointing for them. But it looks like, yeah, they do have two Humvees. It looks like they are just the box standard ones, and then they've got some, machine guns on top, PKTs, because they're turret based. So, yeah, looks like they're going to start spreading out Green Fort, but they don't look like they're completely abandoning the northwestern point. They may be trying to set up, traps here at first. See maybe if they can cause casualties through those types of plays. But it'll be very interesting to see what they do there. Back to you, Morgan.
And yeah, I agree there. If they're able to get up some nice traps, then it would make a big, or it could potentially make it more difficult for the Blue 4 guys to secure that area. And if it's more difficult, then, we go back to the point that you made last round about the value of the lives. And if they're able to, take out decent portion of the blue four without losing any of their own guys, then that's huge, because defending, you have that natural advantage of the fact that you are defending, in which case you can. I've completely lost my point there. I don't even know what was going on in my head. That
Well,
has not
what do you
happened to
think
me
I'm
before.
like? What do you think I'm
I'm
like? I get my vocabulary goes. The things I say just go out the window because of this point system.
yeah.
No, you just pick on him, not me. I'm giving content here. Take away his words.
Yeah, well, being a man of many words, it's hard to take them all away. It's the strong point of having the wide vocabulary, but then you're just using that one word over and over. Unfortunately, it's easy to take away, I guess. There,
This is what happens
and
when you don't shower, Prozzy.
people are informing me that I am allowed to say that word, but I'm not going to say it. I've got to stick by my fellow commentator here, and if he's not allowed to say it, then I'm not going to say it either. That would just be quite unbearable if I were allowed to say it and he weren't. So no, I'm not gonna.
That'd be cruel. That'd be very
Yeah,
cruel.
not gonna go that far. I think we'll have to keep it here how it is, and if one of us has to do it, then unfortunately or fortunately, we both have to do it. We've got to stick together and make the show run, and that's my philosophy on it anyway. And got completely off point here and completely just on a massive tangent. How have the Green Four guys actually set themselves up here? Have they got some solid defenses around the areas, or have they just sort of, are they still not sure where they're going to put things?
Looks like they're going to try to rush down the airfield and really harass the Blue Four as they cross that large amount of open area to the west. Doesn't look like. Oh no, there is a Blue Four going up in the helicopter, but I don't think he's taking any units with him. And with this helicopter, it's very visible whether or not they do have units on, so that does kind of limit its ability to spread misinformation to the enemy. But it looks like Blue 4 now loading up and getting prepared to move out. But Green 4 is really ready to try to push out here. They're looking to take that airfield and set up positions to make a very hard time for Blue 4 to get into the urban area itself. Trying to span over towards Green 4's more core positions around the center of their terminals and see if they've started to build anything substantial. It still doesn't look like anything has been made, but there is there looks like to be there's a good amount of discipline, and they've set up garrisons to the east. Luckily, Blue 4 is not going to try to transport men in the helicopter, so they will have concentration of force on the west, which is key for an attack. Morgan, what do you think Green 4 are going to try to do here when they take this airfield? Do you think they're going to push straight through and just run up to Blue 4 into the tree line to start harassing them? Or do you think they're just going to take it to the airfield and set up positions on the airfield?
I'm not sure what they will go for, but I think if I were the one to make this call, I would push up just to the tree line just beyond the airfield and hold that area. We've seen in previous rounds, time and time again, how a little bit of woodland can be huge. You're not too obvious and out in the open area, and you can just kind of, even some reconnaissance that you're able to get if they send all their units down the road and go past the airfield, you're able to get so much information there that you can feed back and get quite a lot done with just that small amount of information. So, yeah, setting up units just beyond the airfield and maybe entrenching your position, or maybe just scouting out and seeing what happens around there, I think is definitely key. I wouldn't push out too much and try and ambush the convoy, as with especially limited numbers, it's just not going to go well unless something crazy happens. So maybe in that case you go for it, high risk, high reward. But no, I'm not seeing that being the good play to make. I think just pushing to the edge of the airfield, locking it down, and seeing what's coming in. Maybe some harassing fire, causing some early dismounts and delaying the attack. Because in the last round there was only 5 minutes left. If they'd been able to stem that attack by another 5 minutes, then Blue 4 would have had the victory. So potentially Independents can do that again here if they're able to just hold them off ever so slightly as they do come in. Then yeah, it'll be a victory there. So we will have to wait and see what the independents decide to do, as we don't have much longer but until they're able to roll out of their spawn zones. They're getting mounted up in the vehicles here, as and yeah, here we are. They're sat in the back, and yeah, they're all getting ready to get on the assault. And
it does look like the ARMs are very similar weapon systems. I know Independence got a large variation, but I did see some 5.56, and again, Blue Fort is armed with 5.56 as well. So calibers are going to be the same there, and that will also affect the defensive team, because they're going to know, hey, there's friendly fire there than half of them actually enemy fire. It's going to be very hard in terms to organize your defense in terms of audio cue. You can't rely on it anymore. You've got to worry about something else. You've got to rely on your own intel, the only intel you get from your recce, and these smaller elements here. You see, as shown now, looking on the perimeter, trying to find out where the enemy and attacking team is going, and what they can do about it. It's all about being flexible in situations like this and making them bleed for every yard inside an urban area.
yeah, and hopefully for the independence guys, they're able to get that done. It will be difficult, especially as towards the edges they have spread themselves out a bit. They've still got that really solid core, but yeah, and it does look like potentially Blue 4 are going to all at least start with by going down a similar route all down the road. Oh no, actually they've turned off. They're sort of looking in different directions, so they're going to go for potentially a very large flank around to the north of the town and get something done off that way. And it will be interesting to see how they use the helicopter as well. They have I saw there was a couple of guys in there, so potentially I didn't see exactly what it was. Potentially a recce unit is able to get down and get some intel. I don't think it was their recce, as they seem to be on quad bikes, but yeah, how they use the helicopter will be quite impactful if they're able to use it and get down a considerable amount of intel fairly early on. I think that could change the whole course of the round, as opposed to if they basically go up and then are immediately taken out. I think that would be pretty devastating to Blue 4, and I think that's where quite a lot, especially in the early game, the balance of power will lie, is how much intel are both sides able to get. Blue 4 from their helicopter and Green 4 from the guys who are able to push out just past the airfield. As there we go, the timer has kicked off, and units are pouring out of their respective bases, and they're trying to get themselves set up. So where is it that Blue 4 are going off to first here?
I think they look like going directly east, and their vehicles, the offensive vehicles from Greenfort, are rushing straight out to get them, to try to kill as many inside the vehicles as possible. It looks like the first engagement's going to start with buckets opening up.
Yeah, it does.
He's going to coordinate with his driver, hopefully, to try to push them further, but there's a whole fleet. It's like sharks going for fish at the moment. They're trying to get as many men as possible. Much meat. Look, and then another vehicle's coming in. It's going to charge. Oh no, this isn't even arms. It's just infantry charging out. This is to be the X-ray element from Green Fort, and they're literally on top of Blue Fort right now. Oh my goodness! Run, run, run! They're saying go, 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 go. They are running for their lives. Looks like the Green Fort element is coming in here. Buckets to the rescue. This is the content we came for. Charge in.
Ran away.
Buckets. You got a gun. Fire it. Come on, man. Yes. Yes, that's what you want to say, isn't it?
Getting those rounds down, starting to cause some absolute chaos.
Oh. That's not going to end well. Oh, they're right next to each other. The gun depression isn't enough. Looks like Buckets is either reloading or is running away. X-ray elements survived. The rest are just making a large break into the area. First contact's coming in. Oh, there's a large amount of fire being traded. Rocket coming in, destroying that for no apparent reason. Because all the enemies are already dead at the moment. It looks like Blue Fort are pushing through open terrain against these Green Fort at the moment. They've moved up to this solid wall, the concrete wall, and I believe Green Fort are still medding Ray looks to be pushing very aggressively, hopefully to catching these guys off guard from that starts medding we are doing. And I think Greenfall's also getting friendly fired. Yeah, he managed to wound him. That's very good. Grenades have been thrown by Dingo, I believe. But he's also got to hold that corner. Very nice, very good plays there. That's great content. We're coming in. Greenfall is fighting from this position. Possible enemy flank from Greenfall on the north. Very exciting, and it was like no caution, just go straight to the wind. And it was people, just two sides just smacking right against each other. It's absolutely brilliant. It looked like we got buckets coming in again. Buckets. Come on, buckets.
Make another pass.
Use the gun. Use the gun, buckets. Look forward. The driver's probably yelling, look forward, look forward. Oh my goodness, Buckets is now in full retreat from the Blue 4 forces. The helicopter is flying over to the east. Looks like Blue Force won this first engagement. The elements from one of the attack crew there. The X-ray forces here look to be getting the positions, hopefully waiting for a flank later on. But it looks like NAFs and other people are going to be trying to flank from this angle, see if they can catch out any Blue 4 on this northern hill. Very exciting, a lot happening. Morgan, tell me what's going on.
I mean, I've no idea what's going on. It's just chaos. Everything is going on right now.
We've got green on green. It's all over the place at the moment.
Anything that you can think of is happening somewhere on this map. And yeah, it was not at all how I was expecting. Expecting it to be a little bit slower, similar to the previous round, but that is not what we've seen. People, yeah, everything's gone crazy. Those Greenfall guys, you know, caution to the wind, just going for it. And oh no, that's some risky driving there. It's yeah, the chaos is definitely getting to
no,
people.
4IB is being engaged and has been caught out just in the middle of their dismount. Smith managing to survive that initial engagement from NAFs. Coda comes in and kills the man shooting at 4IB. Now they're probably going to get he's probably going to get friendly fire unless he gets inside that building again. But looks like Rafter is the last one alive from that little green 4 flank we had going. But it looks like Blue 4 is definitely dominating and making a concerted effort on this north. And look how isolated these green 4 are from the rest of their elements. It's not looking good for green 4 on this first point here. And they look and it's if Blue 4 manage to get in and start causing some casualties and being really aggressive, they can definitely come out of this with a solid win here.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like it's not quite gone to plan for Green 4 with their massively chaotic starting. I think they probably were hoping they'd get a little bit more done and cause some more congestion within the ranks, but no, it hasn't gone that way whatsoever. It's Blue 4 have held their ground and their mental really well.
Yeah, Raptor looking to get onto the roof, but is literally in perfect sight of a HMG on top of. So, come on, HMG. Take him out. Come on. Good. And he falls off the roof. Survives the fall. And he's just running around like Rambo. It looks more Rambo than I am at the moment. Oh my goodness. Rafter looked to be flanking the units, clearing this building. Rafter going in. Going in.
Push east.
But it was on single fire. So that didn't end well for him. This is all going great. The X-ray element running again. They've lost the wheel. They've got flat wheels, not lost the wheel. A lot of shots going down everywhere. This is proper content. That's exactly what we're here for.
Yeah, and it was quite devious from Rafter there, jumping off the roof. But it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was intentional. I don't think he slipped off. I think he thought he could get the jump on some of those guys, and unfortunately for him, he had his weapon on single fire. So, you live and you learn, or I guess in that case he won't live and learn because he's now dead. But yeah, he was an interesting play, and it kind of matches what we've seen from the rest of the game from Green 4 so far. It's just been, what can I do in this moment to make the craziest play possible? Oh, it's that? Well, I'm doing that. And yeah, all over the map, it's just been chaos, but it doesn't look to have actually slowed Blue 4 down whatsoever. I don't think they've lost that many, if any, units in this push. And with value of life here, it's yeah, it's definitely more impactful for one Green 4 to die than for one Blue 4. And I don't think the kills that have been made have really been worth it for anything. Maybe it was slowed down enough. Maybe we'll see at the end. Maybe they'll just win it by skin their teeth with a slowdown here. But no, I don't know. I'm not seeing it as a super successful play there for Green for at the start.
Looks like the Green 4 vehicle with armoured has now started to engage these units, but has failed to actually hit the gunner, and is starting to get turned fire, and he's completely surrounded by Blue 4 here. Oh my goodness, it is just, everyone's going to be lighting this up right now. I think the amazingly he manages to get out of there. Oh, and he gets hit in the end. Comey wakes back up and starts to shoot again. He has to reload, but it doesn't look very good from this vehicle. It's almost as if he's giving a smoke trail where he's going. Poor guy, man. But in terms of what Blue 4's doing with this northwestern push, they need to get back in their vehicles and literally just slam into the side of this. They know this isn't very heavily garrisoned, and the Green Force made a mistake again at, you know, an isolated unit here without much support, and they just need to get back in their armored vehicles and just slam into the areas here and just aggressively push on the ground. Because looks like the men here aren't having a very good time. The armored vehicles of Blue 4 has chased Green 4 down and is now executing. I think Joseph is hiding inside. He's now jumped out, seeing if he can somewhat survive. Highly doubt it, but best of luck, Joseph.
He's still on the run.
Yeah,
I haven't found him just yet.
He's been engaged from range. The amount of wounds he's gathered just alone there. He's trying to get behind this rock, but no. Got headshotted. He's wounded, and now he's fully dead. That was a loss, another loss for Green 4. And Blue 4, as far as I'm aware, has only lost one man. I know, correction, that is 2 men, but you saw how many losses can be chalked up to Green 4 at the moment. They've lost quite a few men with these high-risk plays, and it hasn't paid off.
No, not at all. And it's
in the open. You want us
yeah,
to push in the open? Alpha 2, cover Alpha 1, Alpha 1,
loss
push.
after loss for Green 4 in these early stages. They've tried to go for the crazy plays, but not only have they lost the lives of the people that they've sent in, they've lost the vehicles as well. And vehicles in a defense can be huge. They can be so useful for locking down a complete arc of fire, or as this is so urbanized, this could lock down a whole road essentially with just one vehicle, but it isn't to be in this state so far. And Blue 4 do look as if they are beginning to push into this terminal area here.
Boys are really pushing forward, getting grenaded just then. It looks like they've got in-depth positions here. They've occupied all of the buildings. They're just the one. 4B is pushed in and have actually gotten into the covered position. This is exactly what they need to do, but I would recommend it with vehicles. So they're taking less casualties in terms of just crossing that open ground. Blue Force pushing in with their heavily armed vehicles, trying to cause damage and figure out what the format is for the defenses of Green 4. And they are just putting rounds down, trying to cause as much attention to them. Very risky. And then now they're completely surrounded by Green 4. If Green 4 has a good AT stick, they can definitely cause quite a lot of heartache for Blue 4. Blue 4 vehicles being forced to maneuver around the roadblock as now going towards a lot of different areas. Will these AT sticks, an AT stick here, misses the opportunity. Is he going to get the second vehicle? Gets the second vehicle hit on the rear. I believe that's taken out a wheel on the front and possibly the engine as well. I believe it was lost the vehicle there. Again, back to the northwestern push. It looks like 4B is now starting to take this position. But Green 4 is also pushed in, could cause some serious casualties if Blue 4 doesn't realise that this building isn't definitively theirs. They're about to find the cache on the northwest, and they're probably going to engage an AT stick shortly.
Oh. Yeah, I think so. And yeah, that was some crazy plays in the town there for driving through. And we've said it time and time again that driving vehicles through these massively urbanized areas just doesn't ever seem to end well, but people still do it, I guess, because they can see the roads and they know where it is they want to go, but it's just, yeah, again, a loss of a vehicle for seemingly no reason, for just putting it into danger's way for, I'm not sure, maybe some minor intel on some locations, but I don't think they were probably able to get that much out of it other than, oh yes, they do have AT, which isn't really a useful piece of information to get.
Looks like 4B have been able to take out Nemesis from a previous unit.
Yeah.
I believe he's a squad leader and probably in charge of the defense around here. He did do some damage, but not a lot. They still haven't secured the entirety of the area around this northwestern point, but it looks like Greenfort is very spread thin at the moment, and it's not going well. It's not going well for Greenfort.
Yeah, they are just far too spread out, and we've said this before, that you need to consolidate your forces in these kind of defenses. They've got some nice ideas down with their defenses, don't get me wrong here, but they aren't working together. They have several separate defensive areas, and there's just no overlap. And this town isn't massive. There should be overlap, and you should be able to defend each other's points from your own point, but they haven't gone for that. They've just kind of gone for almost a fortress style of you hold that wall, we'll hold this wall. And there's just, yeah, no overlap there, and it's causing chaos all across the map. Just more chaos in this, and yeah, it's
Looks like
tough.
4B is getting stingy with their bullets again and failing to double tap a evident person in animation here. You can tell person is dead if their weapon is completely separate to their body, similar to this. That is part of his entire body animation, and is again not being done very well. So they need to make sure when they kill people, they fully kill them, because they need to be ruthless. There's no chance of mercy here. You need to be ruthless with what you do. Looks like one of the Blue 4 vehicles is in a bit of trouble here. Again, getting hit right next to the station. I think that engine is out, possibly going to explode. But whoa, very, very hard position to fight from here. Looks like the gunner is still alive, just turned down so he couldn't get hit. But both of them getting out, hopefully trying to fight as best they can, taking one man with them, but losing one man all the same. Blue 4 has been very, very... Oh, another devious play over here. I'm allowed to say that again. Have that. Another devious play. Explosion going off up premature and hasn't killed anyone. Blue 4 very risky with their vehicles and for not real much point, in my opinion. They need to use those a little more cautiously and let the infantry take up the initial contact from the enemy infantry and then come in and hit those hard points they've once identified. But all in all, it looks to be Blue 4's getting some serious ground now. And they've taken out the first point now. They've taken out the first cache to the northwest. Again, Nemesis is still alive, right next to people. And it looks like Shock is trying to med someone that's also dead, which isn't very good. But again, as you saw what you were talking about before, about the first night round that the defenders weren't doing, you see from this, like they've got the staggered defense. They had staggered, for this point, they had staggered here and here, which caught Foyk out and wounded them heavily here. And then you've also got this again. So it looks like Green Force pulling back with good initiative, trying to regroup with the rest of their men and possibly flank the more southern thrust. But all in all, it's really up in the air. This is proper urban combat. Chaos all round. We've got Dylan going in, trying to get some good kills here. Unsure about the enemies on his compound, but he knows there is someone here. He goes down from Karak. A lot of contact, and then Karak goes down as well. One-on-one trades is not what Green 4 is needing. They need more kills. And they are losing men at probably a higher rate than Blue 4, because Blue 4 still has, look, 3 large elements in reserve to the north. So, again, this in-depth position is now catching 4B off guard to the northwest. Am I there? No, I've gone somewhere else. Of course I did. But yeah, this in-depth position has caught some people out in the open. Not too good.
Yeah, and I think as you've pointed out, though, it's been messy, I want to say, from Green 4. And obviously there was a plan from Green 4. They knew what they wanted to do and they stuck to that, so fair plays to them. But it's just, yeah, it's not going well, and it's deteriorated so quickly, and I don't know how well the plan has been stuck to at this point. I think very early on people knew, or at least the main assaulting force knew.
Another
But-
explosion, a bit premature again, but
Yeah.
it's unlucky for them to know about that. There looks to be a trade inside the school. Whoever wakes up first may get the kill. It's just that it's just on the clock there. Who's going to wake up first? Oh, goodbye, sir. Greenfall looks to go on another kill there, but actually hasn't finished the job. There's a head. Yep, there we go. Eventually.
There we are.
All in all, is the western thrust is a little bit more bogged down, but the northern thrust needs to reorg as well. So they've taken this position, but again, been outflanked by some initiative taken by just an individual player. We're going to see how much that individual initiative will, will affect the later parts of the round. But it does look like Greenfall has abandoned the southeastern area, and so looks like they're trying to consolidate their forces around this more central position. But if we have a look here, it looks like we've got Smith coming into this compound. He thinks he may know that there's someone in here, is unsure what he knows at this stage. He might be concerned more with that building rather than what's currently in his compound. Ooh, very eerie.
Yeah.
What's going to happen here?
Pushing forward slightly. He, like you say, he knows someone's there. Or thinks he does.
Being wise, he's not trusting anything else.
Yeah.
He's clearing these buildings, which is exactly what he needs to do. Here we go. Clearing this building now. It's going to be conflict going. I think Flynn... Oh, beautiful. Beautiful from E. Smith there. Very good. And he knows how to double tap. A little bit aggressively, but, still done properly. But very well done from that. Looks like these guys are going to try to push through on these men. Yep, managed to get that kill. Pulled back, trying to reload, and Mill push up again, seems wounded, and hopefully will double tap. It looks like they're just walking over him and not noticing. Oh, yeah. There we go. There they noticed. Oh, he just woke up before getting noticed. Oh.
Perfect.
He was lucky, but not that lucky. It's like the more northern forces are still trying to defend, but you look at the reserve elements in Blue Fort and the defenses in Green Fort here.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Green Fort. They are just getting picked apart, and there's so many more forces for Blue Fort. It's crazy how much they outnumber them at this point.
Blue Fort being very aggressive. Did he get that one kill he wanted? Yes, that was a trade there for Blue Fort. And the other man is wounded inside this building, I believe. He may have just been killed by another element. Yep, he's been killed. So Blue Fort's taken that building as well. And those are just trades which go in Blue Fort's advantage. So let's look comfortably towards Blue Fort. Looks like some more content over here. Hiding behind this dead body, not knowing where the enemy is. Looting at the moment, but he's got one of Green Fort really close to him now. But that's a really nice position to fight from. If a grenade goes off, the building goes, of course, but, really nice position to fight from nonetheless. Maybe he's going to see this Blue Fort coming out. Oh, my goodness. He may have just saw... Oh, he's chucked a satchel charge. What's going to happen here? It looks like he's trying to med a dead man, which then brings down the building, probably injuring both parties in this. So a very interesting way, but if he stayed inside that building, that could have been very bad for him. But he got out there, which is the main thing.
Yeah,
so Russell waiting. Yep, there we go. Let's see if this marksman. He probably had one round in his magazine. Oh no! And now he's been caught out. Oh! He managed to get it! Look at that content! Look at it! He managed to get him! Oh! Look at that. He's wounded, but he's going to try to press that assault. What's the rest of the area looking like? The complete encirclement, a vehicle coming in on the eastern side with very slow. Not sure what this vehicle's trying to do. To see, does Green Fort have anything to deal with it? But as you see, this is not just nets on the side. It's also got armored plating going over both areas. So if he just keeps that side on, he should be okay. So he got out lucky there. But these guys are just biding their time, hopefully just waiting on. Where's our 4IB? Looks like 4IB is kind of scattered and there's... Oh, no. The remnants of 4IB are rejoining the western push, trying to help Med Foyke, who was injured badly with crossing that open terrain, but still got a good strong amount of 4IB presence on the server. Looks like, again, Blue 4 making a strong push from the north now. And so, looks to be very good. The helicopter is still up. The X-ray element for Green 4 has also been neutralized. So, here we go. Some forces flanking as well. But that's going to be radioed up. Enemy contact to the north flanking the assault. And Blue 4 need to turn around and eliminate these forces fought in the open.
Doesn't look like they're going.
Oh, another explosion goes off. Probably a satchel that was thrown. My goodness, this is proper urban fighting, Morgan. What do you think's going on? What can Green 4 do to turn this around at the moment?
Oh, Green 4. I guess they, at this point, with their numbers being so low, they need to try and make it as scrappy as possible at this point without making sacrifices. They need to essentially just go balls to the wall and cause as much mass confusion within Blue 4 as possible. It's going to be difficult, but there's no other choice at this point. They were too spread out and their numbers are now too thin, but they can't just do a conventional sort of hold and assault or hold and repel. They, at this point, have to go full-on guerrilla warfare and hide in the sneakiest ways, be as devious as possible, and just catch people out where they can. And
looks
otherwise,
like Blue 4 are utilizing scaffolding, probably overlooked by Green 4, and now getting on the internal perimeter they've got left. If they manage to take these tower positions, that could pretty much be it for Green 4. Blue 4 definitely been wise to use that scaffolding.
Yeah, it's really clever that they were able to notice that and get a nice overlook into the area. And hopefully it will pay off for them. Looking around,
very injured here.
That many more Green 4 guys left. It's looking fairly endgame here at this point, and the 15-minute marker hasn't even popped up yet, so we've still got loads of time left.
Looks like, they've gotten onto the walls and now causing quite a lot of havoc for Green 4 here. That was a very interesting grenade there. But all in all, it's going very well. Very well for Blue 4 indeed. And now they looks like they're dominating the ground inside the perimeter now, which does not look good for Green 4 whatsoever. Fisher needs to make a call here. Does he push? Does he keep holding? Probably. Blue 4 probably don't know he's there. They probably know someone's still around, but nothing enough to cause some serious problems. They look like both parties holding. Let's see what's going on. Again, Tiddle's exchanging fire here, taking out Jonathan, and then Jonathan also going down. He was probably a commander for Blue 4. Very good here.
Yeah, it looks like, and it's coming very close to the end of this here. It was impressive, how Green 4 were able to move across. It was very risky. Did it pay off? No, but did it provide us with some top tier content? Yes,
absolutely.
That is the takeaway here. Green 4, were they the winners? No, but they were the winners in our heart with the crazy plays that they were trying to make all across the map. And Blue 4 tried to make some crazy plays as well, sending vehicles into some very deep areas, but it didn't.
Jonathan holding out here. Still holding this little vehicle. Probably going to catch quite a lot of Blue 4 out in this position. Again, another Blue 4 just running through the open area, not checking that. Yep, Jonathan's having some good impact. A very nice position. I think because Blue 4's taken the area by storm. A third one kill. Whether or not 4IB realizes that there's still enemies in this area. Looks like This man is trying to find the enemy that's currently engaging and eliminating his men.
But at
Oh,
the
there
same
we
time,
go.
it's
You see
not
something?
necessary that they. Yeah, I'm sure he will take him out, but it's not necessary that they do. Their objective are these caches, and if he can find the cache and destroy that, then yeah, he does finally execute this man here.
I believe that he did go down, but not before taking quite a lot of Blue 4 with him. Looks like Green 4 has stolen a Blue 4 truck. Again, another little bit of deception going on, just driving around as you do. So I'm not too sure what Green 4 is going to try to do here. Probably roll up, say hello to everyone, and give out some biscuits.
Yeah, it's looking like the end of the first Pirates of the Caribbean film, I think it is, when the bar pirates, they, just like, oh yeah, no, we're with you.
Looks like that was an attempted run over of one person here. But he's got his vehicle's wider than what he thinks is, and that's really giving his suspicion away.
That
Banks has probably not realised that he's an enemy, just told him to get off and stuff. This is not going very well for them.
Oh no.
Some guy's coming out the back of... Why is someone sitting down? Like, what the hell is going on here?
This round, what is this?
Levy looked like he's ramming the vehicle now. That goes... There goes the position here. Now it looks like Levy is starting to kill people jumping out of this vehicle, but is indeed using the vehicle as a weapon, I believe.
That's just crazy. I'm surprised that's...
Which is against the rules set for Friday Night Fight, so not very good there.
Yeah.
Looks like further Green 4 elements are just practically fighting on the east, like those two men that are biding their time. But it definitely looks like Blue 4 took a lot of casualties. They just need to realise, play the objective, which they are doing. They get onto site, Smith coming in, trying to find this position. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be... Where is he? Where is he? Come on, Smith, you can find it. You got it. You got this. Where is that cache? I believe he's checking in the building. Found it. Now, Smith has identified the cache. Does he have anything to blow it up with? Looks like this man does.
Yeah, and hopefully together they'll be able to take it away.
Did he just lose the satchel inside the thing? Oh no. No, there we go. He got it. He set the timer. That is pretty. That's a Blue 4 victory right there. Very well done. Very well done. Back to you, Morgan.
Well, yeah, not really much else to say. That was a very successful assault there from Blue 4. The 15-minute timer still hasn't popped up as he's playing bump cars back here with the trucks. I'm also going to shout out the pilot in the helicopter who managed to stay up the entire time without crashing or being shot down, and I expect was able to give a significant amount of intel to the guys on the ground. So props where it's due, and that pilot definitely deserves that.
Absolutely.
The craziness of Green 4 throughout that entire round was something else. It was yeah, it was crazy to see, and it was enjoyable, don't get me wrong there, but probably not the best way to go when you're trying to get the victory there. It's a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for, a bit too high risk, and not enough reward came out from almost any of that. It was interesting, to say the least. I'm just gonna say interesting from everyone all around, and hopefully the next round will produce as much content as the previous one. I don't know what you think about that.
Oh, it's like, I think this round saw a lot more range of different types of content to show our viewers. Realistically, I keep saying, Green 4 was very aggressive at the start. Very aggressive, charging out, but not coordinating well enough. They fought quite a bit, but didn't really cause many casualties with their vehicles. And then, but they didn't realize like very important thing is to realize when to stop being aggressive, when to stop pushing forward, and start helping your defense. And that's not really what happened there. They kept trying to just fight them on the perimeter, and then Blue 4 had enough of it and sent all their armored vehicles to go harass this one thing, which led to a very brutal death of one of the armored vehicles from Green 4. And then the other one also being caught out by infantry dismounts from the western push. So that's Green 4 lost a lot of men there and equipment, and that just carried on. It was just after that initial engagement with them doing that high risk stuff, they lost it, and then they kept losing by not consolidating the first. There was nothing really custom made. They didn't try to stop vehicles driving down the streets. Most of the time, Blue 4 did drive vehicles down the streets. They lost some, but still had vehicles alive at the very end. So what they probably should have done is they should have tried to build up set positions in order to engage vehicles coming down those streets more effectively. We did see very good urban fighting from both teams, but just with the numbers advantage and the coordination from Blue 4, it just led to a very, very comfortable victory for Blue 4. Absolutely. There were some good plays here and there by individuals on the Green 4 side, but not as a team. It was kind of disjointed.
Yes.
You saw that their northwestern defense was completely isolated. In terms of their plan, it was charge up, and you see what happened. You see, so that's the plan. Charge up, and then, not really much further than that, just stagger the defense. It's all individuals after that initial charge, and it wasn't very reactive to what Blue 4 were doing. And Blue 4 made a very good plan. Was cautious at the start when you saw those northern elements started firing in. And eventually they got to a position where they figured out where the enemies are set up, and they committed. And that commitment gave them such a large concentration of force, which just blew through all of Green 4's defenses, which was a very good round and a comfortable victory for Blue 4.
No, I think you put that very well. Just want to point out as well that whilst we were laughing at the vehicle ramming into the wall, we obviously are aware that that is against the rules to use a vehicle in such a manner. And, we aren't condoning it in any way. It's just still amusing when you watch somebody try to fit a vehicle twice the size of the gap through said gap and failing spectacularly at doing so. So, yeah, just want to make that clear there. We're not laughing at the fact that anybody was hit by said vehicle. But yeah, after that round, though, I think it was quite. It was a chaotic one, and it ended much quicker than expected, due to the nature of Green 4's riskiness with their plays. But I think we're going to head out to a quick break and then come back and hopefully come into the third round.